What have I done with my chuffing keys? Hi there, welcome back to my channel. I'm just doing a bit of a different road trip today around the Wirral. So in the bits and pieces you can see, this is West Kirby. Now it's actually possible to overnight on this seafront if you're lucky enough to get a spot. I've arrived and probably got the last spot on the front here, but it does get quite quiet later on in the evening. So that's a view over to North Wales from the marine lake. And that's back along the front. So on a clear day you can see the lighthouse. So that's my van parked up there. And another view of the marine lake. So that's the boatyard at the end of the marina. And that's the North Wales. You can see the fun ship near Mostyn Dock on a clear day too. So it's quite a pleasant walk actually to go all the way around the marine lake. And again you can see Hilborough Island in the distance there, and the front on West Kirby. All this front's been recently done. It was quite chaotic when they're in the process of doing it. Anyway, we're off to our next destination. Just let this bus come through. He's a bit bigger than me. Oh, and the lorry. Oh, and the car. I thought that wagon wasn't going to stop then. Is it my imagination as a whole country just covered in roadworks at the moment? So this is Caldy. Quite tight this road going through here. Yeah, one of the pretty villages on the Wirral.
Whisper tales untold, adventures ours, let's watch it unfold. Rolling the Wirral road so free, seaside breeze and a cup of tea, chasing the sun till it dips away. In our camper van we'll seize the day.
Okay, so we're heading towards Heswell. The car park on the left hand side as you come over the top of the hill is listed on Park for Night as a space to stay. I've never actually stayed there. So we're going to go all the way around this roundabout and head towards the estuary. The Station Road street sign gives the game away that there used to be a railway line going across the bottom of this road. It's actually now a cycleway and quite a pleasant walk, and it's called the Wirral Way. It runs from Hooton Station to around near West Kirby. Oops, it looks as if I started going the wrong way there. That's better. So we're heading towards the nest now, which is listed as an official air. I'll put the what three words on the screen at the bottom when I've finished editing the video. But it's in a really nice spot, and they are very, very welcoming for campervans. So it's just coming up here on the right hand side. Loads of space to turn in, even if you've got a big motorhome. So it should be coming up in view now on the right hand side. So we'll call in here and get a coffee. And I'll put the what three words on as well. So there's quite a bit of space in the car park for overnighting. But what I'll do, I'll just turn round so I don't get blocked in. As you can see, it's quite nice and open here. A lot of people think that the Wirral's quite built up, but if you choose a place carefully, you can find some quite wide open spaces, and we'll see this later on too on another couple of locations. So that'll do for now. It's just a view what you'd get if you stayed here in the night in your campervan. Just open fields. And some outside seating, and that's the actual cafe itself. I couldn't film inside because it was too busy. Perhaps next time. Anyway, I've got my cappuccino now, so I'm back to the van. This sunlight makes it look nice and shiny. It doesn't look dirty at all, but it needs a wash. I've just had a word with a member of staff. It's £20 to stay overnight, but you do get a £10 voucher to spend in the cafe. What I'll do, I'll post a copy of a couple of the menus at the end of the video. But it does look really nice food. So effectively, if you eat in there, it's only £10. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to head towards Hoylake. But what I'll do, I'll just go down to the bottom of the road, and hopefully we'll be able to see over into the estuary. Some people do stay in this car park down at the bottom, but I think it's a little bit hemmed in. It's a bit claustrophobic for my liking. But what I'll do, I'll just have a loop around in the car park and go in and come out. There's no number plate recognition, to be honest, so we should be okay. But as I say, I think I'd rather stay in the nest. So there's a car park on the right hand side that's got a height barrier, but this one on the left is suitable for campervans and motorhomes, and quite often there's a few parked down here. So there's one cafe on the right there, and there's another one further round as well. Quite some hefty speed bumps. Normally it's packed, but today it looks quite quiet, but it is a Wednesday. So you could come down here even if you were staying in the nest. So I can't see on this sign any restrictions to overnight parking. If it does change, just let me know in the comments below. Yeah, there's one motorhome down there. It does look quite tight, but yeah, there's plenty of room to spin round. So this is Thurstaston Country Park car park, and it's an old station on the Wirral Way, what used to be the railway line from Hooton to West Kirby. And you see some of the station fencing there on the left hand side and the platform. I was hoping to be able to see over the hedge there, but I can't, so we'll have to come down here again and take some more photographs and some more footage. But anyway, you get an idea what it's like at the bottom of the road. It's a whistle-top tour today anyway. So Hoylake is one of these places that have banned overnight stays in campervans. They've put these what appear to be no waiting signs from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. But I always thought no waiting meant sitting in the driving seat. So it's a bit woolly as far as I'm concerned. But we'll show you that anyway when we get there. Some of the side streets don't have any restrictions whatsoever. So you could probably do that if you really were keen on staying in Hoylake. So just going back past the nest on the left hand side shortly. And as I say, the staff are lovely in there, so helpful. Just a pity I couldn't film anything inside, but it was too busy, and I think there's a lot of families in there, so I thought it was a bit unfair. So we're going back up to the main road where we turned down before, back up to Station Road. So I'll put a link to the Nest Facebook page in the description at the bottom when I finish the video. When we span round in that car park before, so to carry on straight over and then veer to the right, there is actually caravan and motorhome site. It does actually have quite a good view from up there. It's quite elevated, but it's a choice whether you want to spend, what is it, £30-40 as opposed to £10 in a nest if you're self-contained with a shower and everything like you have in mine. So it's up to you really. But the choice is there. I suppose you could even do a mixture. If you go straight on this road rather than turning left, there is actually a nice farm shop and a cafe and that in there too. So there's plenty of places to get fed and watered around here. But we're just going to go back up to the top where we turned down before, back up Station Road. Is it my imagination, or are all BMW's drivers working to a tight schedule? They just seem to be rushing around all the time. So on the right hand side, after we've gone around this roundabout, that pub does actually offer overnight stays too. It's just beyond that lay-by which I mentioned before. I've never tried it, I've never even been in. So if you have, just let me know in the comments what it's like too. It'd be interesting to find out. It might be a good place in the winter to go and stay. But yeah, there's the entrance to that car park we passed before. And some fancy cars in the car park in that pub. I think one of them was a Morgan, I don't know what the other one was. So we're going back down towards West Kirby. Beautiful thing, a beautiful view across the top, hopefully shortly. And as we cut through this sandstone cut-in, there's actually a road on the left-hand side. Every house is different. It's like a dead-end road, and an estate owner from a posh estate put out to tender the design for all houses on the estate, and several different builders put in their design by building different houses. So every house on that road is of a totally different design. I don't know which design it actually went for in the end, but yeah, that's actually quite useful information. You could probably dine out in that one. It's as I say, it's a dead end. It doesn't actually go anywhere. You get a nice view over the estuary from there too. Yeah, it's just like a display of houses really for a landowner. So what will happen will be crisscrossing a lot of roads, and it's a bit like a work day for me because I do a lot of deliveries up here, and I'm coming and go and cross over the roads as I go from house to house. So it's all very familiar for me, but I just thought I'd show you guys some bits and pieces of interest. And most people ignore the Wirral, and it is quite varied and quite interesting, and you're never far away from anything if you need anything, and it can feel quite remote on some of the areas. So it's a bit of a mixture really. One thing I must do as well is put a towel in my knife and fork drawer. Hopefully you can't hear it, but it's driving me scatty at the moment. The Wirral's very, very varied. You've got really quite affluent areas, you've got open countryside, and you've got quite run-down areas. You've got docks and shipping up at Birkenhead, and you can even get a ferry from Birkenhead to Island, which is quite useful if you want to consider this area for a stopover on the way to Island. It's certainly not a boring area to come and visit. Although we're not in North Wales, there's still quite a few 20-mile-an-hour speed limit signs around here, so just be mindful of that if you do come along here. So I don't know whether you noticed, but the main road out of West Kirby was a one-way street, so we have to do a big loop anyway, so I thought I might as well just include the nest in that loop, because we'd have to come back in ourselves anyway, regardless of which direction we went in. So you should be able to see over in the distance the Hilbury Islands, and we'll get a better view of those later on. You can actually walk out to those. I think there's actually guided tours if you're interested. You just got to be mindful of the tides. On Google Earth, actual fact, there's some images of what looks like cars and that on them, and tracks coming across the sand. So I don't know whether anybody actually lives on those islands. If you know, just let me know too on the comments. There's a few bits and pieces I don't know, and I'd be grateful if anybody could let me know. And talking of comments and that sort of malarkey, I'd be grateful if you could possibly consider subscribing and giving me a like. Something like 90% of everybody that watches my videos are not subscribers. So if you're in two minds whether to subscribe or not, please consider it. You won't get any spam emails from me. It's totally free. It'll just help my videos become more, give them more exposure to other YouTube users, and hopefully going forward it'll make it more useful for more people. The more I can put into it, the more I get out of it, and give me a bit more encouragement anyway. So if there's any interaction, the algorithm will start offering the video for other people to watch as well. So if there is a like and a comment, etc., that'll be great. So some nice little cafes and pavement cafes, etc., down the side streets here. Where the Asda van is turning off, that's down there is where we started before. I didn't actually let that Asda van out, but I think he realised he made an error. Anyway, van drivers, even worse. Supermarket delivery drivers, Well, I can say that as I'm a supermarket delivery driver. I'm allowed to say that. So there's an Aldi store on the right hand side where that car's just come out of, and there's another station down there too. I've just looked in the rear view mirrors and I've just seen a Mini. I used to have two old Minis, they're brilliant little cars. It's amazing how small they look now. So I've got a Toyota Aygo which I use for work because it's becoming very, very difficult to park my camper van in a car park at work. There's only something like 6 spots I could use because of height restrictions, and there's lots of double yellow lines appeared, so it was becoming a bit of a nightmare. So I bought an Aygo And it just reminds me of driving my Mini, and even the wheels are similar. They remind me of the GB alloy wheels, but I get about 60 miles to the gallon out of it, so it's fine for work. But I do like getting back in my van, and it's great for somebody who's nosy like me. You can see over hedges. Oh, I'm not nosy, I'm just very inquisitive, should I say. So I get about 60-70 miles to the gallon, as I say, that I go. It's absolutely ridiculous. I only fill up every few weeks, but it's ideal for going to work in. So we're just approaching the outskirts of Hoylake now. I don't know where Hoylake starts and West Kirby finishes, but this roundabout at the top, we'll do a left at this roundabout, and then we'll do a left again onto, this is King Street left, and then we'll go on to Stanley Road. It's been an absolute nightmare around here recently because I've been resurfacing all the roads, but it seems to have calmed down now. And they must be spending the budgets before the end of the year. So there aren't any overnight restrictions on Stanley Road. There's some double yellow lines in parts of it, but the parts that haven't got lines, I can't see any restrictions. But the thing is, there's lots of houses down there, so it's up to you. It's your call, really, if you consider staying down here. You might end up outside somebody's house. But I understand they have the British Open golf tournament at this golf course down here. And I understand that people rent houses out and charge a few £1,000s a week. I don't know whether that's true or not, but it doesn't surprise me. I'm not into golf, but I understand there's a lot of money involved. But yeah, this is the, shall I say, the backside of the golf course. So yeah, there's a few cars parked on the right down there. Don't know whether that motorhome's staying or not. So what we'll do, we'll go right down to the bottom, and you'll get a bit of a view as I turn round. Because I'm a van driver for a profession, I always like to park where I know that I'm going to get out and not get blocked in. So every time I park anywhere, I always have a quick look to see whether I can just drive out or I have to reverse out. So that's what I try and do. So yeah, I thought that was a double yellow line parker, but it's got disability sticker in the window, so I'll let him off. So they're the Hilbre Islands in the distance, and beyond that is North Wales. So it's a lovely beach down at the bottom there. So what I'll do, we'll park the van up, and am I going to spin this round in one go? Yeah, happy days. So there was a spot just down here, I think. So just go and find that now. Yeah, park behind that blue BMW. So I'll try this coffee that I bought from the Nest and see what that's like. Yeah, it's really nice coffee, and it's kept nice and warm too. So I'll just finish my coffee off and we'll go for a walk down the bottom. But it is good to be out and about in the van, even though it's somewhere that I live comparatively close to, and I come up here all the time, even deliver to this road. It's good to see it in a different light, and it's great to get away from the news, as it's very, very grim at the moment. And the other thing that's quite interesting as well, there's a lot of people on YouTube and Facebook posting positive stories about staying overnight in wild camping, which is reassuring, and I think people are even achieving it in Greece. So it's not quite the main season there in Greece yet, so it may have been a storm in a teacup, but we'll see. I'm sure, hopefully, many things will change. But I'm sure if you stay away from the hot spots in Greece, you'll be okay unless you take the Michael. But yeah, this coffee's lovely. Highly recommended. And it always tastes nicer when they had it made for you, rather than making it for yourself. So there's a nice walk along the coast here. It goes along all the way along the coast, but there's a massive expanse of sand and the Hilbre Islands in the background. So whoever told you that the Wirral is industrial and built up and no space, you need to come down here and have a look. But it's lovely, and it's a scorching hot day too, and this beach is virtually deserted. It's almost like one of these beaches you get in Scotland. So sorry about the camera shake, but it was really, really windy. I don't think that lighthouse is in use anymore. I think it's a retirement home now in the complex below it. Yeah, so there's some signs about the Hilbre Islands. Although it looks nearer here, it suggests that you don't actually walk from here. I don't know whether there's quicksand or channels full of water or not, I don't know. But this is Red Rocks Nature Reserve. So there's that lighthouse on the left. I didn't mention earlier on where it stayed, but just two things. One thing, I think it probably needs a video in its own right, and there's a couple of other places that stay nearby, but I had a lot of problems with my camera and it didn't record morning's footage, so we'll just make our way back to the van and finish the coffee off. I sometimes come down this road when I'm in my supermarket delivery van, because it's a lovely place to sit and watch the world go around. I've got some paint for the back door, but it had been too busy. It's either been raining and I just haven't had the time to attempt it, so hopefully I'll redo the paint next week. Where are my chuffing keys? What have I done with my keys? That's the trouble with these shorts. I've got too many pockets in. That's better. Right, we're going on to our next place. So we'll take you to the front at Hoylake. Now I've found the keys. That was a bit of a crikey. I was thinking, I'd lost them on the beach there for a minute. So again, this is Stanley Road. So we'll go up to the junction at the top, and then we'll do a left, and we'll go down to the front at Hoylake. Some of the side roads go down to the estuary as well, but they're quite tight as for turning around at the end, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend it if you've got a van not the same size as mine, but certainly you can walk down there. So yeah, that's the backside of the golf club on the right there. There's that camper van again, or motorhome. So yeah, it looks faster than I'm actually going on the footage, but yeah, I can assure you I'm only doing 20 mile an hour. So I'm just going to ignore my sat-nav for a moment, because although we're heading for New Brighton, I'm just going to loop round down the front at Hoylake. It's not quite as nice, this beach, as it's got a lot of grass growing in it down this stretch, but it's still a nice place to go. So it's a stunning view with it being such a bright day. And the light is amazing. So this first bit is a one-way street. I can't actually see any signs saying no overnighting for campervans. Whether it's never been in this spot, I don't know. I thought it was the entire length of the front. So somebody lets me know on the comments below. I'd be really interested to hear. That's a police horse box. Must be exercising the police horses somewhere. But yeah, I thought no waiting always meant sitting in the driver's seat. But I can't see any signs here at all. So I don't know whether you can or not. Certainly weren't any on that first bit there. It's mad though, isn't it? Because this road will be totally empty during the overnight. Oh, classic bit of parking there. Be Olympic sport, freestyle parking. There's a lifeboat station on the left hand side. But yeah, this is another spot I come to when I'm having my break at work. It's been very windy, there's a lot of sand floating around. A bit of a confusing junction this. So again, 20 miles an hour speed limit. There's definitely no motor caravans between 8 till 8 on this bit. I've just seen one of the signs. You let me know in the comments what the score is. It might be useful for myself or somebody else. I don't know whether something's changed or whether it's never been on that first bit. And these side streets don't have any parking restrictions on them. And some of them are quite wide, so you could possibly stay in one of those and not be right on top of somebody's house. Looks like one of those police horses has left us a message in the road. Somebody should shovel that up and use it on the roses. It'd be good stuff, that. But I don't know whether you can make out in the distance those red cranes are actually in the docks in Liverpool. But when we get up to New Brighton, you'll be able to see those in greater detail. You can see those police horses in the distance. But we need to turn right up this road now. So there's a couple of spots either side here where there aren't any houses. That might be useful to stay. In fact, probably if you got here late and left first thing in the morning, probably nobody see you anyway. But some of these roads are massive around here. Really feel wide. Feel like loads of space. It just reminds me of some of the roads you see. I don't know whether it's America or Australia or somewhere, but where it's all nice and wide. So you've got a big church and massive pub next to it. That's one massive pub. So if you do stay overnight and you want to go and get a train somewhere, there's a station here. There's one at Hoylake, there's one at West Kirby, and there's one at New Brighton. Stations there. So you could go into Liverpool or you could go into Chester. It's all on the Merseyrail network. I'm not too sure where you need to change, but the map's quite clear. We're going to do a bit of a dog leg off this road. This road has always been dug up. You can see all the patches. I don't know why these utility companies don't work together and do all the roadworks and the digging up at the same time, because one group of engineers finish, then it's on to the next one. So all of a sudden we'll get past these houses and be in open countryside again. So within a matter of moments you've gone from built up areas, seaside, to quite a rural road, and it's just fields. So it just goes to show, yeah, it's definitely not built up all the way around the Wirral. There are spots of greenery. Tell you what, that Ducato had a flaky bonnet. I don't know whether it's my imagination, but I think the metallics, the paint doesn't seem to stick to them as well as the solid colours. Having said that, my red relay, the paint was just coming off on the seams where they put the sealant in. They kept having to touch those up. So I've been practicing trying to speak into the microphone, so even in the kitchen I've been talking to myself like, wow, I'm making a cup of coffee, I'm putting stuff in a dishwasher now, and trying to get confidence into speaking. So hopefully that's coming out. So the camera that I'm using is an Akaso one. I've tried to record in 2K, but I'm having trouble with CapCut, which is what I use for editing, and it will not allow me to export in 2K. So if this video is a little bit flaky as regards resolution, I was just saying I'm getting confident and talking. If the clarity isn't as good as it should be, it's down to the CapCut, because I have actually recorded it in 2K. So I did actually bring two cameras with me, one for the side view and one for straight ahead, but the memory card died in the Akaso camera, so I've only been able to use one camera. So talking about stress, nothing seems to be stress-free, even something on my day off. So we're going up to New Brighton now, and this is another place that has banned parking on the seafront. You can park behind the seafront or on the roads that are in the green area near the blocks of flats, but I understand it's £20 a night. But given the choice, would you rather spend £20 a night to stay in the street, or £20 in the nest where you've got the potential of getting your £10 back for your breakfast? I know which one I'd rather do. It just seems a bit of a shame, doesn't it? I don't know what the problem is. So what we're going to do, we're going to head back towards the motorway. This roundabout's a bit odd actually, because it tells you to go around all the way around straight ahead in both lanes. It feels really counterintuitive, but anyway, it's fairly quiet. So we're on the spur of the M53, and in the distance there, that's Bidston Hill, and there's an observatory on the top of there. I don't know what they use it for, but there's some nice walks up there. So we're heading towards junction 1 of the M53 northbound. It does surprise me that New Brighton isn't actually signposted from here. With it being quite a popular destination, I'd expect it to be signposted off the motorway here, but just Wallasey is, and New Brighton, I suppose, is a suburb of it. But there you go, you can see the dock signs and the Mersey Tunnel signs. So just an area of contrast around here. But it seems funny seeing signs for docks when we've just been in all that open countryside. But it's very, very varied, this part of the world. And it's definitely not boring. So that dog meets or DNR meats van there reminds me of a combination I had with somebody at work, or a conversation with somebody I had at work. It just cracks me up that if it's cat food and it's chicken or duck or fish, it always has a picture of a cat on the can or packaging. If it's dog food and it's beef, chicken or whatever, always has a picture of a dog. But if it's human food, it always has a picture of the meat, so it'll be like a cow or a chicken or whatever. And it just cracks me up. And I was trying to tell somebody about this at work, and I just couldn't understand why. I thought it was so funny. But that's just the way and why. I don't maybe this is an ADHD thing, I'm not too sure. But it is funny. On the left-hand side, we've just passed a place which hires out vans, and they had a bit of a to-do with the local council. They wanted to expand the area that they could store the vans in, and they wouldn't give them planning permission. So the owner of the business took exception to that. So what he did, he started parking his vans all the way along the seafront, and for a period of time, we just couldn't move white vans all the way along the front at the seafront and town centre at New Brighton. I can only assume that's been sorted out because you don't see them down there anymore. It was all very well banning campervans from staying overnight, but it was just full of white vans and drop-sided pickups, contractors' vans, etc. So again, this is all different. We've got a golf club on the left, we've got quite a big church. It's quite different again, the scenery is quite different. Oh, thank you, Mr. Audi. Thanks for pulling out, and even better, you slam your brakes on in front of me. But thanks for that. Obviously, you're more important than I am. But there you go. I think these cycle paths were built during COVID time when the councils gave people jobs to do to keep people busy. I've never seen a cyclist on this cycle path. So the little white building on the right hand side has some public loos in, and then lovely and clean generally. Definitely worth bearing in mind if you're in the area. So what we're going to do, we're going to swing round and we're going to go off towards Morrison's, and I'm going to have to pay a comfort break, but what we'll do, we'll drive down the front so you can see out to the sea, and it's quite interesting here. You'll see quite a lot of shipping queuing up to come into the docks at Liverpool. But they're those cranes again we saw earlier on in Hoylake. Hopefully you can see them in a bit more detail now. So yeah, all the way along here, you used to be able to park overnight, but now you have to park over in front of those flats on the right. But I think it's £20, which does seem a bit steep to park overnight in a street without any facilities. Those toilets aren't open overnight that I mentioned before. So in recent years, I've spent quite a lot of money on the front at New Brighton. And you may even recognise the front along here because they used it for the interlude between channels, as between programmes on Channel 4, and there's a big silver sculpture walking along, so you may recognise it from that. So even the car park at Morrison's has no overnight parking allowed. This car park is closely monitored. I understand there's a little spot on the left hand side near a radio controlled marine lake, if that's the right description, radio controlled boats on the left hand side. I think you can park there overnight, but there aren't that many places. And if you do come here, make sure you don't turn left too early, because you'll end up in the service road where that wagon's just come out. You won't end up in the car park. It's very confusing. It looks as if you're going into the car park, but you're not. You're just going around the back of it. So you need to go into the entrance with the lights here. So there's a Morrison's, there's a Costa, there's an Italian ice cream shop, There's a couple of places to eat. There's plenty of places to stock up, to get supplies if you're in this area, or even if you go in further afield. So this is the beach at New Brighton, and there those cranes again. And they even have these benches where if you sit on them, it means that you're willing to talk to somebody, if you want to have a chat with somebody. So there's Home and Bargains, Iceland, Costa, no height barrier, and that's the edge of New Brighton town, or edge of Wallasey in the distance. So we're on our way back now. So, mad seagulls. There was one on the roof of my van before, and it was like the size of a small dog. I shooed it away, but I was a bit worried about it being aggressive, shall we say.
Rocks are by the deep, by the shores of Heswall, under Cheshire skies.
I think it's a pitch and putt on the left hand side, or a crazy golf. And that's the area on the right on side there, which I think you can use for parking overnight. So that sculpture was visible on the Channel 4 piece that I mentioned before. So there's loads of open space here. And you get a lot of families coming down having picnics on that grass in the summer. So it is a nice place to visit. It's quite handy. It's quite easy to get to. But all these spaces are just empty at night time. It's absolute crackers. The city lights, I chase silence and starry nights. From Heswall shore to Red Rock sand, I found my peace in this van I planned. Oh, boxer by the deep. Yeah, so the building on the left hand side there we've just passed is the one with the loos in. Could ever anchor me with a view like this and the goals above. I found my road and I found my while camping in Heswall, just me, the boxer, and the sea. Want me to turn this into a performance, ready track, or add a course? So that's it, we're back on the motorway, back on the M53, heading down south. So just stick with me a bit if you're interested in a bit of motorway driving. Somebody's in a rush. So if you made it this far, thanks ever so much for watching. Please like and subscribe.